Hello, welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, hi again. My name is Lee. I am an artist currently trying to build up a body of work because I have nothing to show for myself after drawing my entire life. And I'm making silly videos on the internet documenting my journey as an artist. Anyway, I recorded this video yesterday and I was very frustrated with everything about it and with myself and etc, overthinking and overreacting in my normal fashion. I thought about just deleting all of the clips I filmed and not posting, not editing, but today I'm in a better mood and I'm feeling much more realistic about what's happening and nothing is the end of the world, so here we are. Welcome to a day in my life vlog type of situation. I kind of thought that yesterday would go way different than it did, but universe had other plans, I guess. I started my day with some gesture drawings and timed figure drawing studies thing. That caught me a bit off guard because it was happening in Sketches of Shay's sketchbook club Discord, and I knew that it would be happening somewhere this week, but for some reason I thought it would be like Friday, but it was on Wednesday, and these things never happen on Wednesday. So then when I found out about it, which was immediately as the stream started, and I was like, oh wait, and then I thought I can't miss that, like it's a good opportunity to study and to get out of my comfort zone because I really hate doing like 1 minute gesture and lower timings because they never turn out very good, and I'm very insecure about this. I don't like it when my artwork is not turning out. It's still very discouraging for me when I'm doing gesture studies and they just look like shit, even though I know the purpose of it is to just work on capturing the figure, capturing the gesture. I just want them to look aesthetically pleasing for some reason. And then I also whipped out my iPad, and I haven't picked up my iPad in a couple of days to do any serious drawings, so I was very chicken scratchy, I guess. Like my hand was feeling weird because it's just like pencil on glass, and I've been so in touch with like my sketchbook and paper. A couple weeks ago it was the exact opposite situation where drawing on my iPad was a lot more comfortable for me than drawing in my sketchbook, and now it kind of flipped, which happens. But I was like, okay, I'm just gonna persevere, I'm just gonna go through this whole thing and I'm gonna draw some ugly figures and get some good practice in, and that's what happened. That is exactly what happened. It was still a good time because when you're doing it with other people, it's just not as lonely as it feels when you're practicing just by yourself, especially when it's something as intense as timed figure drawing. So that community aspect is obviously very helpful, and I value that a lot. Special shout out to Shay and Steven for making and caring for such a nice little cozy comfy space on the internet. So then after the figure drawing session I decided to draw in my sketchbook and kind of just keep practicing for the day. And I just had a couple empty spots on my current spread to fill out. I remember actually talking through some stuff in the sketchbook, so I'll let Lee from the past speak right now and then I'll come back to you. Things have been happening in the sketchbook. Not all of them great, but I think by the time we get to this spread, I could call it a strong start for myself. Finishing my previous sketchbook kind of pushed me to do a lot of reflection, and that made me realize a lot of things. So it was helpful just finishing it to begin with and then doing the tour and spending so much time looking through my drawings. This sketchbook started off a bit rough because I still couldn't figure out what I was doing and where I was going exactly. I started with some very like inconfident snake drawings with a lot of line art that I'm not good at line art. I don't really know why I do this. I mean, I do this out of desperation when the drawing is not turning out and I just want to finish it and like move on. And then I tried drawing my OCs and they just weren't turning out, and I realized that, hey, I need to get back to figure drawing practice and daily sketchbook practice, and also 100 heads challenge, which is a controversial topic for me because I've tried doing the 100 heads challenge multiple times And every single time I will get to like head number 20 and I will realize that it didn't do much for me. Like I didn't learn anything. It didn't really improve me in any way. So I dropped it every single time. But this time I set different priorities for myself and different way of approaching it. So I'm hoping maybe to continue doing that. And figure drawings, I'm picking up the habit of drawing a figure and then turning it into a character, and it started with Jinx right here. And then the next day I drew Echo, but I was trying to do his pose from imagination. Because my thinking is, if my overall goal is to be able to do character work and be able to sketch characters from imagination and make stylized work, especially, the way to do it is to just do that. With a bit of training wheels in form of copying direct reference and then adding on things from imagination or changing some things up in a reference to my liking, like not jumping in and trying to draw from imagination right away because I know it's not possible and I will get discouraged, but rather giving myself training wheels to lean onto and finding that balance between only doing studies and only trying to do work from imagination, so that then it can all evolve into me being able to draw more from imagination and rely on references less. So for today, I thought, since I'm already warmed up, I'm gonna fill in these two gaps with heads because I haven't done any portraits in a while. I'm thinking I'm gonna do Jinx here. I tried, but the base head kind of turned out very bad and I gave up on it. But I think I'm gonna put a portrait of Jinx right here, and then in here, I don't know, whatever I feel like, just something else, and it should be fun. And then another point is stylization. The reason I decided to do the 100 heads challenge is because whenever I try to draw like portraits of my characters, they're just not coming out. Because I am very used to drawing portraits from reference and capturing all of the anatomical details and being very precise with it all. But when it comes to drawing from imagination, it's just not really possible to draw a portrait and to do like a concept of a character from imagination and make it like so realistic. At least for me, it's not possible. So my goal is to learn to stylize and be able to whip up heads from imagination and kind of keep the likeness, especially because with stylization, like it's easier to keep the likeness to the characters, and stylized artworks to me are way more appealing than realistic artworks. Like even when we're talking semi-realism, I still for myself want it to lean more into a cartoonier, like maybe like a comic book style, something I could use to draw a graphic novel, for example. When I decided to do a 100 heads challenge again, I decided to prioritize stylization and stop copying directly from a reference, but instead stylize and simplify and pull it through my artistic vision, like my personal lens of how I view the world, of my art style. That the art style, I like to say that I don't have an art style because it is something I am working on and it is something I'm developing and it is something I am like really trying to consider. And I try to curate my drawings and especially stuff that I'm working on digitally, finished pieces, finished illustrations. But as a whole, there isn't like a collection of traits basically that I lean in and that feel natural and that altogether combine into something that can be called my art style and can be recognized as such. I notice a lot of inconsistencies in my work, and even though there are elements and ways that I do things that are present in every artwork and stand out in my work, I still don't feel grounded enough in what could be called my art style. So I'm exploring that. I'm exploring myself. I'm looking at things I like, trying to be aware of how I like to draw, what feels comfortable, what I want to try, etc. And as well as that, I'm constantly collecting references and pulling works that I like onto a big board that I reference then when I'm working, especially on the 100 Heads challenge. This is what I want to do. This is how I want to approach this. I want to look at references of stylized work and apply elements from those onto the heads that I'm drawing from reference of real people. I guess this is how I'm choosing to learn stylization for myself, and this approach seems the most natural and appropriate for me. I've only done it like a couple times, and I tried drawing Geralt as well and stylizing. He looks like he's mewing. I don't know, it's funny. This one was from imagination. We will not be talking about this. This one was the first one when I realized that drawing was a uniball signo is a bit too ambitious for me. Like, I need a thicker line. And then this was from imagination, and I redrew it like 5 times. I have a problem of constantly erasing and redrawing, erasing and redrawing. Nothing ever comes out perfect from the first try. Sometimes it does, but most of the time it doesn't, and it's okay to try more than just once. That was that. VoiceOver Lee is back here. Hello. Hope I didn't spook you. I think I'm gonna put it over the footage where I'm actually drawing, and then I remember I came back after the sketchbook session to talk about the results of what was happening, but I'll just speak about how I was feeling while I was doing these drawings, because I think it's an important topic for me personally to talk about this, and in general, like, I think it might be helpful to some people, because I imagine a lot of people may feel the same way about filming and drawing and showing their sketchbooks on internet.com. But while I was doing these drawings, I was so uncomfortable. I guess having warmed up has helped, and I was pretty like confident in my abilities, and I've been using my sketchbook every single day for the past week, maybe a bit less, yeah, probably about a week, and that made it easier. However, this entire day I was feeling so like confused as to what was happening, because my plans didn't really go as planned, and then trying to film this entire video, and I just rushed myself into things without much consideration about how I was feeling and such. And that aside, just like filming myself drawing in my sketchbook from scratch, even from like reference, it always makes me feel insecure. I think insecure is a very good word here. And at the same time, I was thinking about like recording the voiceover and showing my face to the camera. I don't have much of a problem with showing my face to the camera. The problem I have is not being able to get good enough lighting so that I can not even look good, because it doesn't really matter if you're handsome or not. Like, it's not about that. It's just like the quality of the footage. When you're watching a video, you want to look at something that is like aesthetically pleasing in a way, and you don't want to look at like half lit, weird, noisy, grainy image. So I had a lot on my mind, and I was trying to push that away, and it was like a whole whirlwind of emotions and feelings and just this kind of strain while I was drawing this. And it's such a weird thing, because if it wasn't for the camera pointing at my sketchbook, I would not feel this way, and I will probably have just a good time drawing in my sketchbook like I normally do. And I was also thinking about like how my process is supposed to look like on camera, and how I should not erase the same sketch 5 times over because it's gonna be annoying to look at, etc., etc., like all of these things. And now that I'm here in retrospect, partially, I'm like, okay, ideally, even off camera, I don't enjoy erasing the sketch 5 times over and redrawing it, because it's ridiculous and I wish I didn't do that. But on the other hand, if this is the process I go through, if this is something that is realistic for me, then why not show it on camera? I really don't like pretending like I'm better than I am at something. I really don't like omitting my struggles and showing this like perfect image of a perfect artist, because it's just like, it's a lie. I don't like lying to people. It's not helpful to anybody and makes me feel insecure about what I am and what I am not, and what people's expectations are of me. All of these themes and topics that I can't quite put together in one cohesive like sentence or a paragraph. But to put it simply, it kind of, I think, even though it's a completely different field, we're talking about drawing and art here, it really, really feels similar to the problem of people photoshopping their images, models, looking at people's lives on Instagram and feeling that they are less than. And it's kind of a similar thing, just in a different context of like looking at artists on YouTube or again on Instagram, actually, yeah, artists do talk about comparison quite a lot and struggle with it, and I am not an exception from it. But for me, I feel like since I'm showing so much of my process, or trying to show so much of my process, at this point it's not only about what my artworks look like, but also about what the process is like, and not making like a perfect artwork from very first try, showing people the ugly stage and thinking, oh, people are gonna see that and they're gonna get bored and they're gonna click off. And it's like, well, what is the point of it all then, if you're thinking about the perfect image as opposed to an actual journey and documentation of a process of what it's like to be an artist, of what it's like to be me on my personal journey. And like, I'm just a simple guy. I'm just a guy. I like making art and I struggle with it sometimes. And it's completely normal. So many people are in a very similar position and it's fine. Like, this is how it goes, you know? But I feel like consuming so much YouTube content by content creators who are more art driven channels and who do their like art merch brand stuff, I feel like seeing them at the point of them already being successful and at a certain level of their skill that they've honed throughout years and years and years, I feel like that has been turning my brain into mush a little bit. I don't even know if this is a word. This is just something I say, and then whenever I do, my partner looks at me and is like, what do you mean? What I mean is, I think it's skewing the realistic image quite significantly when you look at these creators, and no shade to them, by the way. It's just my personal perspective thinking about things I've been thinking about. Just for myself, seeing how it's reflected in my approach to my artwork and to my videos and to my, I guess, image on the internet, I feel like seeing all of these people, their videos and what they do, has kind of created an unrealistic image in my head of what I'm supposed to look like, of what my content is supposed to look like, of what my art is supposed to look like, and of what my process is supposed to look like. And throw on top of that this whole like YouTube game of retention and views and etc., like all of these things, it kind of makes it all spiral and turn around in a way that when you start making videos out of a place of wanting to show yourself and wanting to be authentic and document your honest journey as precisely, I guess, as you can, then once you or I get into this whirlwind of like thinking about the monetary side of things and how I could do this for a living and how my videos could be better to attract more people and to present more value to them in the shortest amount of time, by the end of it, what comes out is me trying to make a perfect image that is perfect for the algorithm, and none of that authentic like desire to be real on the internet is left by that point. And it's kind of an interesting thing, and I'm glad I caught myself here, because along with this new or shaped and changed approach to content creation, what comes is endless frustration with yourself, with your content, with the views, with the reaction that you're getting, and it's just miserable. Like, there's no point in it. Like, I don't want to be miserable. Why am I doing this then? And I think yesterday, for me, was a very good example of this sort of self-imposed misery of trying to be something you are not, and of trying to cater to the expectations of imaginary audience that didn't even say anything to you about their expectations. The point is, I don't know if there's even a point, because I guess at this point, it's sort of like a philosophical discussion with myself, and I am getting absolutely delirious because it's 4 p.m. and I haven't had anything to eat today yet. But I think if I was trying to make a point, it would be for myself to just stop doing things that are making me miserable, and stop treating my artwork as something that has to be absolutely perfect for every single post and every single video. Otherwise, people aren't gonna look at it and aren't gonna watch the videos and are gonna hate me and unsubscribe, and I'm gonna be miserable. Like, that's just not, maybe it is how it works. I don't know. It's not worth the struggle and the agony, I guess, to be doing all of that. And I'd rather be showing my artwork as it is and coming from a truer and a more honest place of my identity and the desire to just like have fun and draw silly things that interest me and that I hyperfixate on. I'd rather it be that and be about the journey than about a certain project and how it turns out and what it looks like and whether it's visually appealing or not, at least here on YouTube, because the videos aren't about the art. The videos are about what it's like to be an artist and to aspire to make it full-time for yourself. That's what the videos are about. The videos aren't about the image. The videos are about the speaker. If anybody has watched till this point, wow, I am amazed. Like, that's crazy. Because normally I keep this type of discussion to myself and to my journal and maybe occasionally to my partner, but I never really torture anybody else with this stream of consciousness type of situations. So yeah. And I think after I was done with sketching, I came back to talk to the camera and to discuss what turned out and what didn't. And I remember saying I was kind of pleased with these drawings, but the proportions were off, etc., etc., and it's like whatever. And right now I understand and I realize that if I let myself erase 5 times over, the proportions would be fine. And if I didn't stress so much about my image and how these drawings are going to turn out in the first place, I will probably give myself enough time to build up a sketch that has these foundational things such as proportions and perspective in it from the get-go. The end result would have been just better, I guess. And instead I was rushing myself to draw it quicker, to have like a faster and more straightforward process that is better to look at. And it's just not how I will do it off camera, so what's the point? And then afterwards, after the sketchbook session, I went on to decorate my wall behind my workspace, or like to the right of my workspace. I just took all of the pictures I had on the wall I was previously sitting against and put them on this wall I am sitting against now. But now that it's the next day, hello, I moved them. They were all on this side of the wall, and it was driving me insane because when I was sitting at my desk, I was seeing some of it at the corner of my eye, and it just felt like a huge black hole towering over me. I also stuck them on so haphazardly because I was thinking about, I want to finish the video, I don't want to be doing this, and what's the point in doing this if you don't want to be doing this in this moment just for the video? Like, this is not why I'm here. This wasn't my initial purpose. So why am I being so... Anyway, this morning I changed the layout. I literally stuck them down in the exact same way as I had previously on a different wall. And it's not even... Is it mirrored? Oh yeah, I guess it is kind of mirrored. No, it's not. I don't know. It's just turned. This is much, much better. And I can even like film here in very bad lighting, but it's fine. It's okay. We're fine. I actually started working on a new video today that hopefully will be coming out next. We'll see how that goes, but I'm turning some girls into fairies. I never thought I would find myself like drawing fairies and designing different fairy types and such, but it's been a lot of fun, so I'm excited to do that. I have some sketches, I filmed some process, and I'm gonna take it into digital and draw them digitally. Anyway, I've been talking for 36 minutes and I definitely do not have enough footage for this, but I hope you had a good time. I hope this video was maybe entertaining or interesting or valuable to you in some way. If you're new here, again, that's not normally the type of content I make on here. I normally don't go into like philosophical discussions for 20 minutes straight. That's not what I do. Check out my other videos. I'm just feeling a bit unhinged, I guess, at the moment. That just happens to me sometimes. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Not enough space here. Not enough.